The ice wind cuts through the Siberian valley. It is cold enough to freeze blood in the veins. A single cave mouth opens in the rock face. Inside, the darkness is absolute. For thousands of years, nothing moves here. Nothing breathes. Then, a hand reaches into the dirt. It is not a human hand. It is something older. Something forgotten. This hand places a bone in the mud. The bone is small. It is a finger piece. It belongs to a girl. She dies here. Her body turns to dust. Her name is lost, but her bone stays. It waits in the cold. Thousands of years pass. The ice melts. The ice freezes again. The world changes above the cave. Cities rise. Kingdoms fall. People write books about how the world began. They write that humans walked out of Africa. They walked into Europe. They met the Neanderthals. Everyone knows the Neanderthals. They are the famous cousins of humanity. They are the strong ones with the big brows. They are the ones in the pictures. The textbooks say this is the story. Humans, Neanderthals, 2 players on the field. The rest of the world is empty. The rest of the world is silent. That was the textbook version. It was clean. It was simple. It fit the pictures in the school books. But then a lab in Germany tested a specific thing. They tested the dirt from that Siberian cave. They tested the tiny finger bone. The results did not match the Neanderthals. The results did not match humans. The results showed a third player, a shadow player. They called them Denisovans. The textbook said they were just a local group, a small family in a cold cave. They said they died out quickly. They said they stayed in Siberia. That was the story. Then the DNA spoke, and the story broke. The crack appeared in the data. A specific number changed everything. The lab looked at the finger bone DNA. They compared it to modern people. They expected zero match. Modern humans live far away. Siberia is cold. Modern people in Asia are different. But the number was not zero. The number was 5%. 5% of the DNA in people living today matched the girl in the cave. These people were not in Siberia. They were in the tropics. They were in the heat. They were in Australia. They were in the islands of the Pacific. How did a cold cave girl match people in the hot sun? How did her blood travel so far? That was the first crack. It made the old story impossible. If she stayed in Siberia, her DNA should stay in Siberia. But it was in the coral reefs. It was in the high mountains. It was in the deep forests. But when they tested more samples, the pattern got stranger. The 5% was not the same everywhere. Some groups had more. Some groups had less. Some groups had different parts of her DNA. This meant the girl in the cave was not the only one. There were others, many others, and they were not all in the cold. The evidence began to build. It started with the high mountains. Tibet is the roof of the world. The air is thin. The oxygen is low. Humans struggle to breathe there. Our bodies panic. Our blood gets thick. We get sick. But the people of Tibet do not get sick. They run on the thin air. They live there. Scientists looked at their blood. They looked for the gene that helps them breathe. They found it. It was not a human gene. It was not a Neanderthal gene. It was a Denisovan gene. The girl in the Siberian cave gave this gene to the people of Tibet. But the cave is low. The cave is not the roof of the world. How did the gene get there? And when researchers looked further, they found more. They looked at the islands of Indonesia. They looked at the Philippines. They looked at the deep jungles of Laos. In every place, the shadow appeared. In Laos, a cave called Tampi Seedling held a tooth. The tooth was small. It was human-like, but the DNA inside was different. It matched the Siberian girl, but the tooth was found in the tropics. It was found in the heat. This meant the Denisovans were not just in the north. They were in the south. They were everywhere, but that was just the first site. The next one was worse. The next site was in China, a cave called Baixia. It is on the edge of the Tibetan plateau. It is high. It is cold. but it is not Siberia. Researchers found a jawbone here. It was heavy. It was strong. It had big teeth. It looked like the Siberian girl, but it was thousands of miles away. The DNA was gone. The bone was too old, but the proteins survived. Proteins are like DNA cousins. They hold information. The proteins, said Denisovan. This proved they lived high. It proved they were not just lowland creatures. It proved they could handle the thin air. This matches the gene in modern Tibetans. The gene came from this place. The people here gave the gift of air to the humans. This matches the gene in modern Tibetans. The gene came from this place. The people here gave the gift of air to the humans. The pattern seemed clear until they tested the women. The DNA showed something strange about the mixing. When humans met Neanderthals, they mixed. When humans met Denisovans, they mixed. But the mixing was not one time. It was many times. In Australia, the DNA was deep. It was old in Tibet. The DNA was specific. It was about breathing. In the islands, the DNA was different. It was about immunity. This meant humans met Denisovans many times. They met them in different places. They met them at different times. The Denisovans were not one group. They were 70%. That number would change the entire field. Some studies suggested that up to 70% of the Asian landmass had Denisovan presence. Not just bones, not just caves, but presence. They were the landlords of Asia. Humans were the renters. Humans walked in. Humans paid the rent. The rent was blood. The rent was DNA. Humans took the land, but they kept the blood of the owners. They kept the genes that helped them survive. The cold genes, the high air genes, the virus-fighting genes. But that was just the genetic trail. The physical trail was harder to find. Bones decay, teeth rot, DNA breaks. In the heat, DNA dies fast. The tropics are bad for bones. The acid in the soil eats them. So for a long time, we only had the cold bones, the Siberia bones, the Tibet jaw. We thought they were rare. We thought they were special. But the DNA in modern people told a different story. The DNA said they were common. The DNA said they were everywhere. If they were everywhere, where are the bones? This question drove the scientists. They needed more than blood. They needed rock. They needed dirt. They went back to the caves. They dug deeper. In Denisova cave, they found more. They found a toe bone. They found a tooth. They found tools. The tools were not human. They were made of stone. They were sharp. They were made by hands that were not ours. These tools were found with the DNA. This proved the girl was not alone. She had a family. She had a community. They made things. They planned. They worked. And then the timeline shifted. The dates changed. The Siberian bone was 50,000 years old. The Tibet jaw was likely older. The louse tooth was older still. This meant the Denisovans were there before the humans. They were waiting. When humans walked out of Africa, they walked into a house that was already occupied. The house was Asia. The owners were Denisovans. Humans did not find an empty land. They found a populated land. They found people who knew the rivers. They found people who knew the mountains. They found people who knew the dangers. But the evidence was not just in the bones. It was in the tools. In some sites, the tools changed. Suddenly, the stone tools were better. They were sharper. They were more complex. This happened right when the DNA shows mixing. This suggests knowledge transfer. Humans learned from Denisovans. Denisovans learned from humans. They traded, they shared. They were not just enemies. They were neighbors. They were rivals. They were family. The evidence seems overwhelming. But there is one problem nobody expected. The DNA is not the same. The Denisovan DNA in Tibet is different from the Denisovan DNA in Australia. This is the twist. It is the complication. It changes the story from a simple meeting to a complex history. If the DNA is different, it means the Denisovans were not one single tribe. They were not one single species. They were many. They had split apart long before humans arrived. Think about it. Humans left Africa. They walked east. They met Denisovans in the north. They mixed. They took the north DNA. Then they walked south. They walked down the coast. They met more Denisovans. These were different Denisovans. They had been separate for a long time. They mixed again. They took the South DNA. Then they walked to the islands. They met yet another group. They mixed again. This happened at least 3 times, maybe 4, maybe 5. That contradiction changes everything. It means the Denisovans were already diverse. They were already spread out. They were not a small group hiding in a cave. They were a major population. They were the dominant force in Asia for hundreds of thousands of years. Humans were the newcomers. Humans were the immigrants. The Denisovans were the locals. And the locals were not uniform. They were varied. They were adapted. The north ones were adapted to cold. The south ones were adapted to heat. The high ones were adapted to air. This is why the DNA is different. It is not just one Denisovan signal. It is a chorus. It is many voices singing together. When we look at modern people, we hear the chorus. In Tibet, we hear the high voice. In Australia, we hear the tropical voice. In the islands, we hear the immune voice. They are all Denisovan, but they are not the same Denisovan. This complicates the myth. The myth said one cave, one girl, one group. The truth says many caves, many girls, many groups. And this leads to a deeper question. Where did they come from? The Neanderthals came from Europe. The humans came from Africa. The Denisovans came from where? The DNA suggests they split from the Neanderthals long ago. They walked east. They walked into Asia. They spread out. They became different. They became many. They were the first big population of Asia. They were the ancestors of the land. That contradiction changes everything. And dig sites across 3 continents prove exactly how. The first site is the original, Denisova Cave in Russia. This is the anchor. This is where the name comes from. Here, the DNA is clear. It is the baseline. It is the reference. Here, we know what a Denisovan looks like. We know their bone shape. We know their tooth shape. We know their tools. This site is cold. The cold saves the DNA. Without this cold, we would not know them at all. This site is the key, but that was Russia. The next site told an even stranger story. The next site is Baixia Karst Cave in China. This is high altitude. This is the Tibetan edge. Here, they found the jawbone. No DNA, but the proteins survived. Proteins are like DNA cousins. They hold information. The proteins said Denisovan. This proved they lived high. It proved they were not just lowland creatures. It proved they could handle the thin air. This matches the gene in modern Tibetans. The gene came from this place. The people here gave the gift of air to the humans. That was China. But the Philippines told an even stranger story. In the Philippines, there is a place called Luzon. Here, they found small humans, Homo luzonensis. They were small. They were islanders. Some scientists think they are related to Denisovans. Some think they are a different branch. But the DNA in modern Filipinos shows Denisovan mix. This suggests the Denisovans reached the islands. They crossed water. They were not just landwalkers. They were sea crossers. They followed the food. They followed the coast. That was the Philippines. But Laos told the most surprising story. Tampaling Cave. This is deep in the tropics. And this is hot. This is wet. DNA should not survive here. But they found a tooth. They found a bone fragment. The shape was right. The location was right. It proved the Denisovans were in the jungle. They were not just in the steppe. They were not just in the mountains. They were in the deep green. They were adaptable. They could live in any place. Every site pointed the same direction. The full picture is more disturbing than any single finding. The disturbing part is the disappearance. Where did they go? They were everywhere. They were strong. They were adapted. They had the land. And then humans came. Humans had better tools. Humans had bigger groups. Humans had language. The Denisovans faded. They did not die all at once. They faded into us. They became part of us. Their bodies disappeared. Their genes stayed. They are not gone. They are in the blood. This is the reframe. We do not look at an empty Asia. We look at a layered Asia. The first layer is Denisovan. The second layer is human. The layers mix. The layers blend. We are not pure. We are hybrid. We are the product of meeting. We are the product of mixing. This changes how we see ourselves. We are not the only story. We are the latest chapter. The book was written before we arrived. What this means is simple. We are not alone. We never were. The world was full. The world was crowded. The history of humans is not a solo walk. It is a crowd. It is a meeting. It is a merge. We carry the ghosts of the past. We carry the genes of the dead. They live in us. They help us breathe. They help us fight sickness. They help us live in the cold. They help us live in the heat. One tweetable insight. Denisovans did not disappear. They became the foundation of modern Asia. This changes the timeline. It changes the map. It changes the family tree. The family tree is not a tree. It is a web. It is a network lines cross. Lines merge. Lines split. The Denisovan line is thick. It is strong. It runs through millions of people. It runs through you. It runs through me. If you have Asian ancestry, you have them. If you have Australian ancestry, you have them. If you have Pacific ancestry, you have them. They are your family. That is what the DNA proved. But there's one thing nobody can explain yet. The amount of DNA is not stable. It changes. In some people, it is high. In some people, it is low. In some people, it is gone. Why? Why did some groups keep more? Why did some groups keep less? Was it chance? Was it choice? Was it survival? The high DNA groups lived in places where the Denisovan genes helped. The low DNA groups lived where they did not help. Natural selection cleaned the blood. It kept the useful parts. It threw away the rest. But there is more. There is a missing piece. We have the DNA. We have the bones. But we do not have the face. We do not know what they look like. We have a finger. We have a toe. We have a jaw. We do not have a skull. We do not have a full head. We can guess. We can model. But we do not know. The face is still hidden. The face is still a mystery. What did the girl in the cave look like? Did she have big eyes? Did she have flat nose? Did she have thick hair? We do not know. This is the limit of the science DNA tells us about blood. It does not tell us about face. It tells us about function. It does not tell us about form. We know they could breathe high air. We do not know how they looked breathing it. We know they could fight viruses. We do not know how they looked fighting them. The image is blank. The picture is incomplete. This drives the next search. Researchers are looking for more bones. They are looking for skulls. They are looking for art. Did they paint? Did they carve? Did they sing? We have their tools. We do not have their voice. We have their genes. We do not have their culture. This is the gap. This is the hole in the story. That is what the DNA proved. But there is one thing nobody can explain yet. The timing. The dates are fuzzy. Some bones are old. Some are young. Some DNA is deep. Some is shallow. The timeline is not a straight line. It is a zigzag. It moves back and forth. Humans met Denisovans. Then humans moved away. Then humans came back. Then Denisovans moved. Then Denisovans hid. The dance was complex. The steps were many. We need more data. We need more caves. We need more labs. The technology is getting better. We can find DNA in dirt. Now we do not need bones. We need dust. The dust holds the story. The dust holds the blood. The dust holds the memory. Every shovel of dirt is a page. Every cave is a book. We are reading the books. We are turning the pages. But the books are old. They are damaged. The words are faded. We have to guess the missing words. We have to fill the blanks. This is the work. This is the job. It is slow. It is hard. It is careful. One mistake changes the story. One bad date breaks the timeline. Scientists argue, they debate, they check, they double check. This is how truth is built. It is built brick by brick. It is built test by test. This is why the story changes. New bricks come, new tests come, the picture updates, the myth breaks, the truth grows. We are in the middle of the growth. We are watching it happen. We are seeing the rewrite. The textbooks are being written now. The pictures are being painted now. You are seeing it before the school books get it. You are seeing the raw data. You are seeing the fresh dirt. This is the value of the channel. We bring the lab to you. We bring the cave to you. We do not wait for the summary. We go to the source. We talk to the researchers. We look at the dirt. We see the bones. We hear the story from the ground. This is real history. This is not guesswork. This is evidence. This is data. This is science. And science is never done. It never stops. There is always more. There is always deeper. There is always further. Today we know about the Denisovans. Tomorrow we might know about another group. There might be a fourth player. There might be a fifth. And the field is open. The map is blank. The possibilities are huge. That is why you subscribe. You subscribe to see the next update. You subscribe to see the new brick. You subscribe to see the change. You are part of the process. You are watching the history being made. You are not just reading it. You are witnessing it. This is live history. This is active science. So here is the question, the open loop, the thing we do not know. We know they were everywhere. We know they mixed. We know they gave us genes. But did they give us culture? Did they teach us? Did they show us the fire? Did they show us the tool? Did they show us the path? When humans walked into Asia, were they lost? Did the Denisovans guide them? Did they say, go this way? Did they say, avoid that mountain? Did they say, eat this root? We do not know. The DNA does not show teaching. The DNA only shows blood. The culture is silent. The voice is gone. We hear the blood. We do not hear the words. This is the mystery, the cultural mystery, the knowledge mystery. If they were everywhere, they knew the land. Humans were new. Humans did not know the land. Humans needed help. Did they get help? Look at the tools. The tools changed. The tools got better. Who made them better? Did humans learn from Denisovans? Did Denisovans learn from humans? Or did they both learn from someone else? There is a third option. Maybe there was another group. Maybe there was a fourth species. Maybe the Denisovans learned from them. Maybe the humans learned from them. The chain is long. The chain is deep. This is the question for you. What do you think? Did we learn from them? Did we trade? Or did we just take their land? Did we wipe them out? Or did we absorb them? The DNA says absorb. The bones say fade. The tools say share. The story is mixed. The answer is not clear. Tell us in the comments, what do you think happened? Did they guide us? Did they fight us? Did they hide from us? Your theory matters. Your idea matters. We read the comments. We listen to the audience. We build the next video from your questions. If you want to see the next step, subscribe. The next video goes to Africa. The next video looks at the origin. The next video looks at the start. We will trace the line back. We will go to the root. We will find the first split. We will find the first walk. The journey continues. The map expands. The story grows. The sources are in the description. The papers are listed. The labs are named. You can check the work. You can verify the data. This is open science. This is public knowledge. We do not hide the sources. We show the path. We show the work. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of the discovery. The cave is dark, but we have light. We have DNA. We have science. We have questions. The light is growing. The darkness is lifting. The girl in the cave is not lost anymore. She is found. She is in us. She is in your blood. She is in your breath. She is in your life. The ice wind still cuts the valley. The cave still stands. But now we know it is not just a cave. It is a home. It is a hub. It is a center. The Denisovans were already everywhere. And now They are everywhere again in the data, in the story, in you. The end is not the end. It is the start. The next discovery is waiting. The next bone is in the dirt. The next test is in the lab. The next story is in the wings. We will bring it to you. We will tell it to you. We will show you the truth. Stay curious. Stay questioning. Stay watching. The history is not dead. It is alive. It is in your genes. It is in your body. It is in your head. You are the history. You are the evidence. You are the proof. The Denisovans were already everywhere. Ancient DNA shows why, and now you know. Now you see. Now you understand. The myth is broken. The truth is here. The story is yours. Keep looking, keep digging, keep asking. The world is old. The secrets are deep. But we are finding them, one bone at a time, one test at a time, one story at a time. This is the channel. This is the mission. This is the work. We will not stop. We will not fade. We will not hide. We will bring the light. We will bring the truth. We will bring the history. Scene 217, Talking Head. The character delivers the line, "I appreciate the assistance."